Hello, 7th graders. We're going to go over the Unit 6 End Assessment today, and you're going to try some problems on your own. This first problem says Jordan got an $80 gift card to an online clothing store. She uses the gift card to buy a jacket for $39.99, and she also uses the gift card to buy some shirts. Each shirt costs $8.50. Which of these inequalities describes the situation where n is the number of shirts? Okay, so each shirt is $8.50, so n equals the number of shirts. All right, so we're starting with $80. She can spend up to that amount. So she can spend less than or equal to $80. We know she's buying a jacket for $39.99. We also know she's buying a certain amount of shirts, $8.50, times however many, okay? So $39.99 plus $8.50 times the number of shirts has to be less than or equal to 80. So our inequality here that matches is D, okay? This one is greater than or equal to, this one's greater than or equal to, so that doesn't work. And in this one, you're subtracting the jacket cost, or the shirt costs from the jacket. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so here's our answer choice. Now try one on your own. All right, our next problem is an inequality, and we're going to be graphing it once we solve. So we have negative 9x plus 12 is greater than or equal to 30. First, we need to move our constant. We need to subtract 12 from each side. 30 minus 12 is 18. So now we have negative 9x is greater than or equal to 18. To figure out what we're multiplying by, we do the inverse. We divide. So we're going to divide each side by negative 9. 18 divided by negative 9 is negative 2. Okay, a positive divided by a negative is still negative. Now, the rule, if you divide by a negative or multiply by a negative in an inequality, you have to flip the sign. So now my sign is going to flip. X is less than or equal to negative 2. Okay, so negative 2, negative 3, so on and so forth. I know that my answer is X is less than or equal to negative 2. And that I'm going to have a closed circle because when I have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, it's a closed circle. So I know this and this are not my answer choices. So I'm going to start at negative 2, and all of my choices are smaller. So I'm going to be going this way. So it looks like A matches, okay, because X is less than or equal to negative 2. So negative 2, negative 3, so on and so forth. Now try one on your own. All right, here we go. We're going to be distributing, combining like terms, and then selecting all of the expressions that match. The first thing I do here is I take this negative symbol and I'm going to put a 1 right here because a negative 1 is the same thing as just negative. So I'm going to distribute first negative 1 times 4x and negative 1 times negative 4. Okay? And I'm going to pull down the first part of my expression, and then I'm going to do my distributive property. Negative 1 times positive 4x, negative 4x, negative 1 times negative 4, positive 4. Okay, and remember a negative times a negative is positive. So here is my answer choice, and let's see. It looks like it matches right here. So I know that this is an answer choice. But also, I can take this and I can combine like terms. 8x and negative 4x are like terms, and positive 5 and positive 4 are like terms. So 8x minus 4x is 4x, and 5 plus 4 is 9. So now I'm going to take this and figure out where it matches. Oh, right here. So this is also correct. Now, I'm going to look at the other choices just to make sure they're wrong. 8x plus 5 minus 4x minus 4. Well, this is supposed to be plus, so that can't be right. This down here, 8x plus 5 minus 4x minus 4 again. So that's the same thing as the second one. Nope. 12x plus negative 1. Well, there's no way we have 12x because we have 4x. So this is also incorrect. All right, now try one on your own. Okay, we're now going to move on to looking at this next inequality problem. At midnight, the temperature in a city was 9 degrees Celsius. The temperature was dropping at a steady rate of 4 degrees Celsius per hour. Okay, so we're starting at 9. It's dropping at 4 degrees per hour. So if we're dropping, we're going to be taking away 4 degrees per hour, and it wants you to use the variable t. Which inequality represents t, the number of hours past midnight, when the temperature was colder than negative 11 degrees? Okay, so if we want it to be colder than negative 11, it has to be less than negative 11. Okay, so less than negative 11. All right, let's see which of these matches. The first one would be greater than negative 11. That doesn't work. That's the same thing for down here. That would be greater than. And you're also adding. We're not adding. This one here also, we're not adding. So it looks like this matches. 9 degrees, take away 4 degrees per hour, has to be less than negative 11, or colder, which would be negative 12, negative 13, etc. Okay, now we are going to match the inequality to its correct graph. So we had 9 minus 4t is less than negative 11. I'm going to move my constant, subtract 9 from each side. Negative 11 minus 9 is negative 20. Same sign, add and keep the sign. So now I have negative 4 times the amount of hours is less than negative 20. Well, I'm going to do the inverse operation. I'm going to divide, and I'm going to end up with t is greater than 5. And the reason t is greater than 5 is because I divided by a negative, so I have to flip the inequality sign. Also, negative divided by negative is positive. So t is greater than 5. Well, from that earlier problem, I remembered that greater than or less than is an open circle, and greater than or equal to, less than or equal to is a closed circle. Well, I have just greater than. So this can't be right, and this can't be right. Now I'm going to start at 5. Okay, 5 here and 5 here. And t has to be bigger than 5. So it has to be like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's going to be going this way. So our arrow that's going to the right is A. Okay, here we go. We are going to be expanding this expression, and then we are going to be factoring. So for the first one, we'll use the distributive property, negative 1/5 times negative 20x, and negative 1/5 times positive 10y. Okay, negative 1/5 times negative 20. X is going to be positive 4x because a negative times a negative is positive. 1/5 of 20 is 4, or 20 divided by 5 is 4. Multiplying by 1/5 is the same thing as dividing by 5. Negative 1/5 times positive 10, that's going to be negative 2, or negative 2y. Because multiplying 1/5 by 10 is the same thing as dividing 10 by 5. And 10 divided by 5 is 2. And since it's negative times positive, it stays negative. So 4x minus 2y is going to be our expanded version here. Okay? Now down here, the problem says factor to write an equivalent expression. So we need to find the greatest common factor. I know that 42 and 18, or negative 18, can be divided by 6. So I'm going to pull out 6. And then I am going to divide 42 divided by 6a, 7a, negative 18 divided by 6, negative 3. So if I rewrote this, it would be 6 times 7a minus 3. Now to check my work, I can do 6 times 7a, and I get 42a, and 6 times negative 3, and I get negative 18. So I know my answer is correct. Go ahead and try one on your own. Okay, Tyler made a mistake here. We need to figure out his mistake. He was trying to combine like terms, but he made a mistake. So it says 7 minus 3x plus 6 plus 8x. So if I were Tyler, the first thing I would do is combine these two because they both have an x, and then I would combine 7 and positive 6. But it looks like what he did right here was he did 7 minus 3 first and then added that x back on. So he did 7 minus 3 and got 4 and added that x back on. Well, he can't do that because you cannot combine unlike terms. And 7 didn't have an x. Negative 3 had an x. So I can't combine those. So instead of combining the like terms, he combined unlike terms. And so that messed him up for the whole problem. If we were going to do this correctly, we would combine negative 3x and 8x, positive 8x, and 7 and positive 6. I'm going to do 7 plus positive 6 first, because that's easy. That's positive 13. Then I'm going to do negative 3x plus 8x. Well, 8x minus 3x is 5x, and 8 has the higher absolute value, and it's positive. So 5x plus 13 is going to be the simplest form. Try one on your own. All right, we're getting to our last set of questions. Miguel's family car holds 18 gallons of fuel. Each day the car uses 0.8 gallons of fuel. A warning light comes on when there is 1.25 gallons or less remaining. Okay, starting from a full tank, can Miguel's family drive the car for 14 days straight without the warning light coming on? Answer yes or no. First, we need to write an inequality. If they're starting with a full tank, 18 gallons, and they're taking out 0.8 per day, I'm going to call that D, and the light comes on when it's 1.25 or less, so when this amount is less than 1.25, less than or equal to. So I'm going to add that little line underneath. Let me put it in red. Okay, here we go. So in order to figure this out, we have to subtract 18 from each side. Okay, so 18. 1.25, take away 18. Well, I can do 18 minus 1.25, and I get 16.75, but it's going to be negative because 18 has a higher absolute value, and that's negative. Okay, so now I have negative 0.8 times the number of days has to be less than or equal to negative 16.5. Well, I'm going to divide each side by negative 0.8. And I get 20.9375. Well, since I divided by a negative, I got to flip my inequality sign. The number of days the number of days for the light to come on would have to be greater than or equal to 20.93. So if they're only driving for 14 days, that light is not going to be coming on. Okay, because that's not quite 20. Now this one says, can they drive for 25 days without the light coming on? No, because in that last one we determined that was about 20 miles before the light came on. Okay, finally I'm going to find the correct inequality that matched. We said 18 take away 8t. is less than or equal to 125.